Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Zach, here to recap the Chargers Patriots.
Hey guys, it's Kyle. Just as well, we're recapping the game. The final score was 27-24. Patriots take out the Chargers in SoFi Stadium this past Sunday.
Once again,
Yeah. Looks like I feel like Bill Belichick has our number. Like we just can't beat this Patriots team. The last time I think we beat them was back in 2008 when Tom Brady was hurt and Matt Castle was playing. So I would really like to get revenge on this Patriots team one of these days.
yeah, hopefully, I don't know. I was gonna say if we make playoffs, we see them, but that'll be a super hard match. Going into this game, I wasn't exactly the most confident either, because I knew about our Bill Belichick's a defensive genius.
Yeah, and I think what he did, it definitely shows up. I'll definitely talk more about it on the recap, but how he's able to do clock management, how he's able to kind of, work against our team has always worked against us. I mean, it was a lot closer than last time. Last year was a blowout, and I'm glad this one was a little bit closer. But overall, I think that this game, we always get a good surge in the beginning, but it always comes down to finishing the game and ending the second half. So as we continue to recap it, I can honestly say that during the first couple possessions I was actually pretty excited. I was able to kind of see. I believe it was a touchdown on the first drive. I mean, we let a touchdown as well back to the Patriots. But as we, when we continued the game, we went up 14-7. I felt we were pretty confident that our offense had something going. We always had this surge in the beginning, like, okay, well, if our offense continues to play like this, we'll be fine. And our defense was actually playing pretty well compared to the last couple of weeks. Joseph was out, so it was great to have him back in the game.
Justin Jones?
Justin Jones, yeah. Justin Jones is back. So Justin Jones came back and he was able to kind of, be a little bit more with us on the D line, and we were able to kind of make more stops. So.
Yeah, but so far it's just I guess like kind of like a chart. It just went downhill.
Yeah,
almost quickly.
I would agree, and I think that maybe when I think about it, like losing our cornerbacks was actually pretty big. I mean, we lost Asante Samuel Jr. in this. Corey Davis wasn't playing, and I think not having those cornerbacks put a lot more pressure on.
You mean Michael Davis?
Michael Davis.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the Jets. Thinking about the Jets wide receiver. Thinking about my fantasy team right now. But yeah, for Davis, not having him in actually was pretty big. It put a lot more pressure on Derwin James, who picked up on the secondary. And it looked like Chris Harris Jr. could not stop anybody at all in zone coverage.
It just looked like he was constantly getting burnt. And I honestly thought because we lost both of those outside corners that Chris Harris was going to step outside, but he still kept him in the slot.
Yeah.
And the only one doing things was Derwin James.
I agree. And I honestly feel like we definitely put a good defensive effort. I mean, when I think about the game, the points that they scored, 27 points, they only scored one touchdown on offense. And I think the other touchdown was a defensive touchdowns. And we were able to give up 4 field goal kicks. So we were able to stop them a good amount. If that was, translated into touchdowns, we probably would have been losing by a lot more than what it actually was. But we were able to make some stops to get them more into just field goal range. But yeah, as I said before, I personally felt as though our offense struggled. After that second touchdown, back in the second quarter, when we went into the second quarter, the possessions went like this. It was punt. After 2 minutes into the second quarter, it went from punt, and then interception. If you can recall that was an interception by, I think that he was throwing it to Eckler, and I thought Eckler had a good shot at it. But we were up 14-10 at the time. He threw it to Eckler. Eckler couldn't catch the ball and ended up giving the ball back to the Patriots, thus allowing them to have a field goal right before the half and be a little bit closer, making it 14-13 at the half. And as we continue with that, I mean, it was the end of the second half because we barely had any time. And then there was another punt starting the third quarter. So it was just a bunch of – it was 3 punts end of the half, and then an interception. So until we saw Hopkins come in for a field goal in the third quarter, I felt as though we started getting deflated at that time on offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Eckler is honestly one of the most reliable receiving backs in the league, like top 2. So, but I've seen him make mistakes like that. And Keenan had 11 targets, only 6 catches. Eckler had 6 receptions out of 10 targets. Mike Williams had 5 targets, only 2 catches.
Yeah, I feel like Mike Williams didn't really do as much or nothing at all really during this game. Usually he's been pretty good the last couple of weeks, but especially in the beginning of the year. But it's kind of looked like it's kind of fallen a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what they did, I noticed they actually started throwing to Keenan a lot. Like they actually started targeting him like between coverage. They started getting him at some difficult angles, and I felt that was definitely hard. You're putting a lot more pressure on Keenan Allen to make those catches there, and it just wasn't there. And partially because I think Herbert was in a little bit of a hurry. I felt like he was definitely getting more pressured in this game. So especially once like the second half hits and probably towards the end of the second quarter, he was just getting so pressured.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting that Justin Jackson only had 3 carries after getting that huge carry for like however many yards, 60, and he ran out of gas towards the end. But
that probably could have been a touchdown right there.
Yeah, it should have been. But I don't know what happened, man. Just Herbert's not really playing well right now. I mean, obviously Bill Belichick did a great job disguising his cover, his cover 2 and playing man to man and just doing what he's been doing for the past 2 decades.
I thought he was doing pretty well in the beginning. Like it seemed like a regular Charger team.
Right. That first drive.
The first, up until the Keenan Allen touchdown in the second quarter, I thought he was doing pretty well.
Yeah.
But it just seeing punt after punt, interception, it just wasn't great at all. I think one of the most difficult things to watch is, the interceptions, and maybe it's due to where we have our line. I mean, we're getting destroyed, I think, on Storm Norton's side and the right guard side. And so for me, like the Eckler, that play could have been a catch by Eckler within the second half, giving up 3 points. That was difficult to watch. But I think one of the most challenging one was that drive. I think within the third or fourth quarter is when he was actually throwing it to Cooks and he wasn't looking, and they ended up getting a defensive touchdown by the Patriots. Mm-hmm. And for me, that shouldn't have happened. I mean, probably get that punting group, allow them to earn their touches. But I think at that time we were up 17-16. And I think that was already a turn for the Chargers at that point, because it was 17-16. It looked like we were doing pretty well. We're trying to get our offense going again. But, Cooks didn't even turn around. It almost seemed like it was an AJ Green moment.
Yeah, pretty much.
At the end with the Cardinals against the Packers. But, yeah, it was just it would look like a very, questionable throw. And then an easy interception to an easy touchdown. And for me, that just put more of a spark on the Patriots. And it was just, they ended up making the 2-point conversion. So they were up by a touchdown. Mm-hmm. But I think one of the biggest things finishing the recap of this game, I would say, is that when we went to the fourth quarter, I believe we had 9 minutes left. Mm-hmm. And I think it was around 4th and 6. I think we should have gone for it. We were down by a touchdown. And the reason why I said we could have gone for it is because this is what makes Bill Belichick a very good coach, is because he was able, once they did the punt from there, he was able to take 7 minutes off the clock and get that drive going. And for me, that was big, because once they get within field goal range to a touchdown, they're up 2 possessions, and we can't come back from that within 5 minutes. Yeah. So we were down by a touchdown. If we were down by a field goal, it made sense to punt, but we gave them a chance to take time off the clock and be up by 2 possessions and not actually get back into this game. They probably should have gone for it on 4th and 6. Probably had a chance to kind of either be within 4 points or within by a field goal or actually tie up the game. That's what I felt that was the biggest mistake they should have done within 4th and 6. You know,
Yeah.
they, as I said before, they were able to take possession, take 7 minutes off the clock, 2 minutes left in the game. They were end up being up by 10. It was basically kind of impossible at that point to actually get back into the game. They, Madden, grateful enough, they were able to kind of get a touchdown by Palmer, and it was great to see a touchdown by our rookie. But of course, it made it very difficult knowing that we have to go for an onside kick to actually tie up the game. And so I think that for me, it's that I would say the turnovers made a difference in the game, not having protection among Herbert and Herbert not looking well within the 3rd quarter, 4th quarter. I think that just made a difference in this game. And yeah, I feel like we need to stay strong within the 3rd and 4th quarters. I think that we're kind of missing stuff there. You know, if we kept our offense going up until the end of the game, I think we would have been good. But it was just, I think we just end up not having it going. Maybe Belichick made some adjustments after the first 2 touchdowns. So
Yeah, pretty much outcoached, outplayed 2 games in a row. Against some great coaches, you know, Harbaugh from Ravens, and then Bill Belichick, greatest coach of all time.
Yeah.
And I think the score didn't do it justice. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, as I said before, we gave the Patriots four field goals, a defensive touchdown, and a touchdown. So they could have had a lot more points than they could have, but they could have had less points as well. So it could have been a great game or not so good of a game. But man, for me, it's like just seeing this offense, you know, go from like so many punts in the game, so costly turnovers. I just think that just